seen Africa really show up on the radar significantly over the last few years, especially with U.S. companies, enterprises, as well as BPOs wanting to have stronger connections. What's the real root cause of this?
Africa has a very young population, 70% literacy rate. A company like Nigeria graduates 1 million graduates every year with different skill sets. So we've seen owners of technology establish their companies in Africa. So the reason is, yes, beside the cost value, the quality is there when you find the right partner. And there's a huge look in the youngest population of the world. They said by the year 2050, 1 out of 4 working age is going to be in Africa. So Africa is the future, and that's why there's a huge boost in companies in the US outsourcing to Africa. The first speaker today was talking about hedging against instability and uncertainties. And one of the things we've done this year is to look at Europe as a destination. And in fact, I remember calling my good friend Kirk one day and said, I'm really waking up here in Nigeria looking at how to grow our European market. And really, for you to do that, you can't do that without Africa, right? The time zone, the proximity. UK, a country like Nigeria, is colonized by Britain, so our first language is actually English. One of the attractiveness is 70% literacy rate, meaning that as AI is taking over the traditional BPO services, and we've heard about AI a lot, and I can give you our experience with AI. But before I get there, one of the things that has really changed from COVID is remote job. In America, people are breaking down their real estate because people are working remotely. So there is no geography to work. As we all know, we're in the industry. And because of that, Nigeria, for instance, as a country, and I can give you an example with Nigeria 10 times more than any other country because I'm a Nigerian and I live there, right? So 1 million graduates with different skill sets that can work anywhere in the world with little bit of upskilling, right? So today, 40% of our offerings in Outsource Global is professional services.
I would look at Africa as a long-term investment, and one of the things we've never even talked about, Amal, but I have to bring it up very quickly, is this concept of the demographic dividend. I think some countries in Latin America talk about this, where they've got these huge populations in their 20s and things. Obviously, some of these developed economies they have some real problems with demographic issues. Does that come up much in your conversations? And do the wheels start turning to realize, wow, we need to start thinking about that the volume of people we're going to need longer term?
People in Latin America are also young. Some are young. Yeah. But if you look at the population for some countries, in Africa, the population of Africa is about 1.5 billion, according to some statistics. Nigeria alone has 200 million, 60% youth. You know,
youth being under 25 or under 21?
Yes, under 18.
Under 18, okay.
Wow. This is the youngest population in the continent, and that is why it is called the future. And then the literacy rate, a lot of people feel Africa is uneducated. That's not true. 70% literacy rate. A country like Nigeria, I mentioned 1 million graduates every year. So today, according to World Bank statistics, we have 35 million people that are ready to work, and the rate of unemployment is about 35%. So, and that's what makes Africa really very attractive.
What value does an African partner offer? Can you offer some scenarios or how that would actually be structured?
One, and the most easiest one, is white labeling. So let's say because of a lot of uncertainties happening in the market, you get a huge demand from a client that really needs to scale in English, right? Or in French, or in, you're looking at Europe. So you look for an African partner, and what we've done is we've worked with different partners for them to deliver the same service. So they can even share their seats between Colombia and Nigeria, or Colombia and Kenya, all right? And you get to scale very quickly because the talent that are ready are available in a database that with a verified partner. So what we do in Outsource Global, at every given time, we have 700 people that are trained and ready with different skill sets. What we've seen in Outsource Global is AI didn't replace jobs. Yes, we've lost the low-end jobs that anyways, they're not meaningful employment for the people, for the graduates that we're taking, but we've seen AI enhance the jobs of, for instance, software engineers. Before now, the well sought after engineers are senior engineers, right? Who can get jobs anywhere in the world. But right now, we're seeing a huge demand for junior medium scale developers because AI enhances their work to be able to deliver as good as medium scale and senior engineers.
The advantages of proximity, this idea that we want to be close to our teams in the scenario we're in now. How do you reconcile that when you got these customers in the United States, some of which I would imagine at some point you've contemplated, or we've even talked at some point contemplating a nearshore solution. How do you sort of deal with that challenge in terms of maybe partnering in the reverse way but then you've got a different economic set of scenarios by sourcing it nearshore?
Nearshore really is that proximity. The clients here really feel more comfortable about nearshore. One is the time zone, time difference, and all that. But I don't see that as a hindrance for provision of service, especially from our point of view. And America is our first client, and we've been growing in this market more than any other market. People like to work for America. Why? Because in Africa, you can afford to wake up, do certain things in the morning, and get to work at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. And that gives you certain flexibility to take care of other things. I've thought about establishing a nearshore for the language, not for the proximity, right? Yeah. And that is still open. It's something that is open because all our clients, we're serving them in English, is something that I'm very open about. It's not about the geography, and it was mentioned in one of the channels. It's about the right partner. It's about knowing who to work with to establish. Africa, just like any other location, it has its good, bad, and the ugly. So you have to really understand which partner to work with. Is the partner authentic? Is the partner able to deliver what you want them to deliver? If you're establishing yourself, how do you navigate around a location that doesn't have a lot of data at your disposal, or you have a lot of data with AI and everything? Which one is the authentic data you're working with? So you have to find the right partner. It's not about location. Every country in Africa has its advantage and disadvantage.
When you look at the issue of data privacy, for an issue like that, does that, would your partner be able to say, well, listen, we've got more enforcement in X country versus another country in terms of protection of data?
So there are some countries that are more structured, no doubt about that. But the partner that you're working with is the partner PCI DSS certified, is the partner HIPAA, is the partner GDPR certified or compliant. So I think that's the way to look at it. Even if the countries, some of them are more structured in their GDPR law. For a country like Nigeria, we follow the GDPR law, which is called NDPR, emulating the UK GDPR data protection. It's not about what the country is doing. It's about who you're working with and how that partner is very compliant.
You're one of the hardest working people I know. What motivates you? What inspires you to do the work? And by the way, for the entrepreneurs in the audience, I think this is you talk about this a lot, your fourth startup. Fourth time was a charm.
Yes.
So what keeps you going?
I looked at India. I realized that BPO provides millions of jobs to Indians. And I said, why not Nigeria? So the foundation of our business is actually to create employment. I didn't get up one day to say I want to be rich or I want to be Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. No, I wanted to create employment. Initially, it was how do I train people to be certified to get a job? And then when they got certified, there was no job. So I said, okay, so how do I create a company that can create a lot of employment?